river of God fills our mouths with laughter, and we rejoice for the river is here. The river of God, ere it teems with life, and all who touch it can be revived. And all who linger on this river shore will come back a-thirsting for more of the Lord. The river of God sets our feet to dancing. The river of God fills our hearts with cheer. The river of God fills our mouths with laughter, and we rejoice for the river is here. Up to the mountain we love to go, to find the presence of the Lord. Along the banks of the river we run, with dancing and laughter, giving praise to the Son. The river of God sets our feet to dancing. The river of God fills our hearts with cheer. The river of God fills our mouths with laughter, and we rejoice for the river is here. The river of God sets our feet to dancing. The river of God fills our hearts with cheer. The river of God fills our mouths with laughter, and we rejoice for the river is here. Up to the mountain we love to go, to find the presence of the Lord. Along the banks of the river we run, with dancing and laughter, giving praise to the Son. The river of God sets our feet to dancing. The river of God fills our hearts with cheer. The river of God fills our mouths with laughter, and we rejoice for the river is here. The river of God sets our feet to dancing. The river of God fills our hearts with cheer. The river of God fills our mouths with laughter, and we rejoice for the river is here. And we rejoice for the river is here. And we rejoice for the river is here.
You gotta take
the Lord with you everywhere you go.
You've got to take
The Lord with you everywhere you go.
You've got to take
The Lord with you everywhere you go.
in the street,
In the street, in the home,
on the job,
on the job,
highways,
highways,
and
Hi, I'm Steve Diggs. Welcome back to this little thing we call Fast Forward Leadership, great ideas at the speed of light. Today I want to talk to you about the most famous person that you have never heard about. This fellow was born in 1910-ish, maybe off a year one way or the other. But he was born in upstate New York. He was an only child in his family. His family moved around a lot in his early days. And in those years, since he didn't have time to develop a lot of friendships, he became quite a student. And most specifically, he became a student of the Old West, the American West, the pioneer days, and all of that. So it really didn't come as a surprise to anybody who knew this man very well that by the time he was an adult in the 1940s, he had moved to Hollywood, where he was becoming a well-known screenwriter and producer. His name was David Dortort. And I'm telling you, David Dortort changed America in great ways forever for the better. A little bit about this guy. He produced a lot of well-known Hollywood films, mainly Westerns, but he kind of came to a point in the late 50s where he was troubled about some things. He saw that the nation was going in some bad ways, and he was worried about this. And he felt like he had been somewhat complicit with all this because he had been the fellow making some of these cowboy movies, showing these cowboys as gunslingers and rough guys and all this. And it came to his heart that he really wanted to do things differently because he knew the story. He knew that a lot of the folks that had built the West had come from the East as good family people. Some of them had come out as missionaries. Many of these were very, very good people. So in the 1950s, 1957 or 8-ish, in that era, he comes to the people at NBC in Hollywood and he says, I'd like to produce a new cowboy show for you. Of course, they were thrilled to death to have David Dortort sitting in the office. They said, sure, David, tell us about it. He said, well, I want this to be different than all the other Westerns on TV. Now, you need to understand that at that point, most of the TV Westerns were 30 minutes long. They were in black and white and mostly shot on backlots in Los Angeles. And the budget was probably $10,000 or $15,000 per episode. Very low budget shows. But David said, I want this to be different. I want to do a 1-hour weekly show. And what's more, I want to do it in full color. And what's more, I want to do a lot of it on location up in the high Sierras. Well, the girls and boys at NBC looked at each other and said, David, we'd love to do this, but we can't afford that. David was so committed that he stepped into it and he said, listen, what if I bring a lot of my personal money into this? Would you consider doing it then? And they said, yes, we will. And with that was born a new kind of cowboy show that featured these four fellows right here. This is Hoss, that's Little Joe and Adam, the brothers, and their father, Ben Cartwright, named, by the way, after David Dortort's father, Ben Dortort. And they all lived together happily on this little ranch called the Ponderosa. And of course, we all know the story and we know the show, at least we've heard about it, and that show was Bonanza. Bonanza was on air for about 13, 14 years. And most of the time it was a top 10 show. It was translated into more languages than virtually any other show of the day. Probably one of, if not the most successful Western in the history of television. David Dortort told me a lot about this, and I'll tell you a little bit of the story here. I met David back some years ago, back in the 1990s, 1997. I was thinking about bringing a dude ranch, a guest ranch into Nashville. We, as a family, had gone to guest ranches. We loved going, and I thought, well, this might be something good, a good tourist attraction. So I flew out to Los Angeles. Flew out to Las Vegas, actually, and rented a car and started traveling the area for a couple of weeks, several states, visiting different dude ranches, looking at their business models. I'd brought along my son, Joshua. Josh was 16 at that point. Well, we got through a couple of days early. I don't like Las Vegas a lot. I go there to speak occasionally, but I don't like Las Vegas that much. So I said to Josh, why don't we go drive over to Los Angeles? I'll take you to Disneyland. Josh said, great. We were in Los Angeles. It was Saturday morning. Josh was getting ready in the bathroom at the hotel. I was finished. And I found myself thinking about David Dortort. And I thought, could this man still be alive? So, me being me, I just picked up the telephone directory. Now, for those of you that are millennials and Zs, telephone directories, big books, lots of people's names and phone numbers, okay? And I started paging through this, and in Los Angeles, there was no David Dortort. Beverly Hills, no David Dortort. I flipped over to Bel Air, and right there it was, David Dortort. So I just picked up the phone and dialed the number. A minute later, a woman was on. I said, Mrs. Dortort? She said, yes. I said, Miss Dortort, if your husband is who I think he is my hero. Did your husband create a television show called Bonanza? She said, well, yes, he did. And she said, would you like to speak to him? Well, yeah. A minute later, Dave and I were talking, and I asked, and he said, Steve, why don't you come over to the house and we'll talk about this? And I said, David, I can't. I've promised to take Josh to Disneyland today. He said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, well, tomorrow we were going to go to church up in Van Nuys. He said, great. After church, come down the 405, cut across on Sunset. I'll meet you at the house. That day, I came up to his house with Joshua, beautiful Tudor home there in the middle of Bel Air. He met us at the door, took us back to his office. This was a 2-story office where he had written episodes for Perry Mason, so many shows back in those days. He was, as you can see, a very old man at this point, but boy, did he regale us with stories that afternoon. Among other things, he explained that he had had a goal with the Bonanza show to mentor an entire nation. He wanted to redefine the American cowboy, not so much as a drifter, but as family builders. And he dealt with topics in this show that nobody else was touching, like prejudice, the sin of mercy killing, discrimination. But David Dortort said this. He said, we try to teach something about human values like faith and hope. Ben Cartwright is a strong, understanding man of wide experience who inspires warm, vibrant relationships that should exist in a good family. He has authority and wisdom, and we make no apology for that. I dare you to find any Hollywood producer today that would say that same thing. The point is this. David Dortort chose to mentor millions. You can mentor those within your circle of influence and change their lives and bless them in great ways. My name is Steve Diggs. Lots more at stevediggs.com. This has been Fast Forward Leadership. Great ideas at the speed of light. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Melissa Lancaster, and I want to welcome you to Praise and Harmony TV. Here on this app or website, whichever you're using, you'll find countless videos on how to sing, vocal care, music theory, training for individual songs, and learning harmony parts, music videos and lyric videos for your church to stream, children's content, and so much more. We are adding new content every day, so be sure to take a look around and be sure to sign up for your 3-day free trial.
I'm pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise and fears dismay. Though some may dwell where these abound, my prayer, my aim is higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. I want to scale the utmost high and catch a gleaming glory bright. But still I'll pray till heaven I've found. Lord, lead me on to higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
All of the glory.
Announcing Praise and Harmony TV. P&H TV is the inspirational way to fill your life with music videos of brand new songs of worship and hymns. PNH TV also provides masterclass education for beginners to learn fundamentals of music, as well as the quickest method to easily learn how to sing harmony, featuring hundreds of videos which isolate one harmony voice part at a time for ease of learning.
I know the Lord will find a way for me.
Hear fascinating history of classic hymns of the faith. Enjoy videos of Christian singing group Acappella, including vintage material from the vault.
We bow down and we crown you the King.
Be blessed by full-length music videos of the International Ministry of the Praise and Harmony Singers. Share children's videos as well as songs for teens by Regen Harmony. Praise and Harmony TV also features documentaries of behind-the-scenes events, including a specialized podcast for song leaders.
If there were no God.
PNH TV contains resources for a wide variety of assemblies, including videos specifically designed for worship services, weddings, funerals, and special holiday events. New content will be added every month. Sign up today for the annual plan and save big money. Praise and Harmony TV is here.